you just are so ungrateful, you're just such a horrible person to be around, you're so charming, Mica. He said to me, actually, this is probably the one thing that's probably stuck with me since then. He was like, you're so good at playing the victim, you know that? And I burst into tears. I actually burst into tears. For some reason, everything that's ever happened to me my whole entire life just kind of flashed through my eyes just every time that I'd been manipulated or put in a bad situation. It was just like, I believed him. Like, I fully believed him. I fully believed him that I was playing the victim and the things that happened to me weren't real. And I just actually can't believe that I believed him. Like, it's nuts. And I think about that every single day. Every single day I think about that, oh, you're just playing the victim. Hi, I'm Mica Ellie Hill, and I've dealt with a lot of coercive behaviour within my relationships, and it's something that I found important to channel into my own photography work, and it's always been important in my work to have feminist and female issues within my work, and Spellbound kind of came from that. It was a combination of wanting to stand up for women but also being able to voice my own story as well, and they've come together to create Spellbound. I started like reading through all my old journals and kind of reflecting on the different people that I'd been, because I looked really different like every year. Like I always changed something about my appearance, my hair, piercings, tattoos, and even just like my general style. And it took me a long time when I was a kid really to just find myself, and a lot of that was to do with being in abusive relationships since the age of 14. And now from that it's kind of birthed this big massive project, and I'm taking a bunch of images to tell my own story. We'll wait until July. This is easier than I thought it would be. I'm currently cutting and hammering a canopy in a tree for the first shoot that we're doing. The image basically kind of represents her being in her own bubble.
I think it would just come pre-cut. Getting something that's meant to be like that.
Is that Hannah? Yeah. So it was weird, that time period. It was two mentally ill people falling in love. Like that's what this story is. I knew the things that I liked, but I never really knew who I was, and I was so involved with kind of him. I think he kind of consumed my life. I kind of thought that, okay, I've got someone who loves me and that cares about me. I've got somebody who needs me every single day to look after them, who literally needs me to function. He had no sense of emotional regulation.
Hello, I'm Mica Ellie. I play the role of the fairy character on Spellbound. I have a background in filmmaking as well as film journalism, and also a little bit of modelling on the side. Mica texts me one day going, "Fancy doing a Narture?" And I goes, "No." So I said no at first. I went, "No, you're going to freeze." And she went, "No, it's just one, and it'll be warmer by the time we do it, and it would be outside."
The mirror shoot was actually something that was more overly complicated than I anticipated it to be. We tried a multitude of different setups and lightings, and nothing really stuck with me until we decided to bring out candles.
See how much warmer it is all of a sudden. Hello, I'm gonna need a light in my mirror.
I get to feel pretty and very light and put little butterflies in my hair and wear purple sparkly dresses. And then I'm sat in the freezing cold for hours in the dark, very late at night. I do like the whole idea that it's portrayed through this childlike fairy tale, because it's a wee bit different rather than just being like, here's something to clean. dramatic and scary. Because it's still dramatic and scary, but it's a bit nicer as well. It's nicer to look at, but also more unsettling to look at. Because it's like, oh, this is all nice and pretty, and then you're like, whoa, what the bleep.
I'm kind of hating every aspect of this. I was writing about him, and this was like just after we'd gotten together, and I was like, oh, I just don't feel like special around him. I don't really feel like very womanly. I don't feel very beautiful. He doesn't make me feel special. And I was like, the part that kind of hit me is that I don't feel nice. He knew. He always said to me the whole relationship. He was like, oh, you're too good for me, blah 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 blah. He knew if I had any self-worth, I would have left him, and that's exactly what happened. I don't really feel loved around my own boyfriend, but then it's like he needs me every day, and there's a part in that where it's like I need someone too. I can't look after you every day, and I won't allow it, but I did allow it for like a year. She's upset, she's fragile, she's still gorgeous, she's still put together, she's still putting in the effort, but she's like completely broken. Kind of her image is the one last thing that she has, but she doesn't know who she is. She knows what she looks like, she knows that she's pretty, she knows she can look attractive, but she doesn't have any sense of self.
Oh, I've also got what I need, by the way. I forgot to maybe mention that. Shit done. Really scary.
And you're still making me lie down here.
The flower shoot was actually something that was really overly simplistic. It was basically I just bought a bunch of fake flowers and new ones to use for the actual shoot, and I got Nia to throw them about to symbolise her anger. It was a lot of fun. It was basically just hippy dippy flower power in the forest.
Hi, my name's Amy. I'm the behind the scenes photographer for Spellbound, and I also work on the zine along with Mica and Ffion. I've been doing photography now for about 2 years-ish. I used to study at college, but halfway through the year I decided that it was better as a hobby, and I like to do it for more of my own pleasure than the grades and whatever else. So what I do behind the scenes is basically I follow Mica around like a lost puppy, and I photograph everything that she does, and I photograph the process of the photos and the filming and what most people won't really see, and I also photograph the dedication of the team here on Spellbound. The camera I use is a Nikon ZFC, but I like it because it's mirrorless and it's got like a fancy little screen on the back. I like working on Spellbound because it doesn't have the same pressures as college does, and I feel more relaxed and at ease.
A lot of the time after relationships, after I'd got out of them, a lot of it was anger with myself and angry that I couldn't see the situation, I couldn't see what was happening in front of me, and I didn't understand that I was being abused, and I was angry at myself for what I was putting my friends through and the fact that I kept going through these cycles. It was also just I was angry at the world, I think, as well. I was angry that the world didn't understand me and the world wasn't made for me, and I always felt different, and I always felt like I couldn't express my emotions, and I always had a very difficult time, and I've always been a very highly sensitive and highly emotional person, but I've never found a way to vent that, and from that came a lot of anger that I didn't realise that I had. And I'd always been really scared of the emotion anger because of one of my first ex-boyfriends. He was an alcoholic and he used to get really angry when he drank and he'd put it on me. And I used to get really scared of that emotion because I thought it made me like him. I thought it made me turn into him, so I used to always just shy away from it, and I'd have these big mental breakdowns and big outbursts. The editing process was relatively fairly simplistic. For a majority of the images, it was basically making sure that I could create a preset to put through them all and that they just still looked concise together. But then it got to the flower image where my Photoshop essentially just didn't work. So I messaged Josh and asked if he could come over. He edited the image, so what ended up happening was we would use the lasso tool to select pieces of petals from other images, and we put them over, and I just selected them, and then he'd do it for me because he's great. He was dependent on weed, and that was a really big thing during our relationship. He had like a really hard, really tragic upbringing, and a lot of the reasons why he wasn't his fault. And I think for a very long time I kind of was like, it's just the way he's been brought up, it's not his fault, he can learn, but he hasn't learned. It was like basic human connection he didn't understand. It was treating people with respect that he didn't understand. It was, he could treat everybody else in his life fine, but not me.
We ended up having to trail to Glasgow to look for a few of the props, as for some reason I couldn't find most of them in Ayr.
And they're all golden. Even this, actually.
Probably too much.
No, it's fine. Even that on the table.
So I ended up going on a hunt for a tea set and then Alistair's suit jacket, which we were able to find.
Hello, I'm Alistair and I'm one of the models in Mica's project, and I play the role of the fox. For this shoot, I am obviously dressing up as the fox. I'll be in a nice three-piece outfit with some fancy shoes and the fox mask.
Yeah, no, I think that would work.
And I will be, from what my understanding is, having some form of influence over the main character. I'll be representing taking away piece by piece from her, invading personal space.
Ooh. I think that one's better because it's still on your back.
Oh, I'm so far away. Take two. Someone just did that.
We've done it.
We did it. We did it. We're doing a shoot today. We're doing the 2 images with Alistair that don't really involve any props. So we're doing the 2 initial shots with Mia and Alistair.
The fox is taking away the main character's innocence, and generally is just being creepy, is the word I'm going to say. I think that the fox is a representation of who everyone should not be. The fox is overall is very clearly not a good man, and that there is no joy in the fox's life apart from perversion.
Got it. Meow. This is really cool. I'm happy with this.
I met Mica 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and I just thought, wow, she's quite nice. She'll make a good friend. And about 4 years later, down several rabbit holes of 3 AM phone calls, of mental breakdowns, and this guy's done this and she's done that, and overall 4 years of gossip and drama that I think would break me if I remembered it all. I think it's a very interesting situation. Like Mica's a very interesting person. I think she's a lovely person. And I'm very happy to be her friend. I'm very happy to have helped her develop and achieve.
Hi guys, just take your time here.
Let's go!
It's not my place to say what's happened or where's happened or who's happened. It's just my place to make sure that she's alright. I know that Mica one day will be an absolute incredible photographer, film star, or whatever she wants to do. And I know that I just pass by, I just make sure she's alright. phone her every once in a while, check up on her, and nothing's changing. I was phoning her, checking up on her a year ago, I was doing it 2 years ago, I was doing it 3 years ago, I'm doing it now. Helping Mica through thick and thin, and I'll keep doing so.
If I had like Alistair in my room, or if I was seeing Alistair, he would get so jealous and start accusing Alistair of liking me and all this stuff. And I think if you've watched this, or you know me and Alistair, that's just not the case. And he used to get so pissed off about it, and he was, at this point, he was like, I don't want Alistair being in your room, like I don't like it, it makes me uncomfortable.
Hi, Lena. Cool, man. On the road.
And then I need you to go more to your left. And then forward a bit. Yep. Let's stay there. Now how come your arms are flying away? Whatever weird thing we've got it, so.
Just obviously with the gravity of the story of Spellbound and Alice's character, obviously the theme surrounding it is coercive control, so I thought it was important to bring somebody else in who can give you the factual details rather it just be me spewing out my story and being like, this has happened to me. And I didn't want to do something that wasn't accessible to everybody watching, so that's why I decided to go with Women's Aid, and especially because there is a home base in my hometown and it just felt kind of right. And the women that we've been working with as well are just like amazing.
Coercive control includes intimidation, manipulation, gaslighting, threats. It's a form of domestic abuse. It's the most prevalent form of domestic abuse. It's a harm that is perpetrated in adult relationships, young people's relationships, and it is a criminal offence.
I'm Shirley Middleditch. I'm the manager here at South Ayrshire Women's Aid.
My name is Niamh Connolly and I'm a training worker here at South Ayrshire Women's Aid.
Women's Aid are here to support women, children, young people who have experience of domestic abuse. That could be they're living with it, or it could be that they've had it in the past.
Coercive control is a term that was pioneered by an American social worker, Evan Stark, who tried to help everyone understand that domestic abuse is not just physical violence.
So we have a process that's called a risk assessment, which can tease out a lot of information from somebody that's experiencing domestic abuse. They might not recognise it themselves, and that's regardless whether they've got any sort of disability or anything, they might not recognise it themselves because it becomes the normal. At Pan-Ayrshire we have the MARAC, which is the Multi-Agency Risk Assessment Conference. It's like a multi-agency, they've got housing around the table, police, fire, social work, health, Women's Aid and any other voluntary organisation assist are there. So it's everybody sits around the table and it's all about reducing the risk to the victim.
As a training worker, so one of the roles in this post is to go into schools and to have conversations with young people in classrooms about healthy relationships.
We're finding that more and more young people have got domestic abuse in their own relationships. It's not just the parents that have maybe they've had it with experience of the parents, it's in their own relationships. Now we're finding that a lot, particularly in secondary schools. The MATAC is about the multi-agency task and coordination. It's about targeting serial perpetrators where they may have other criminality that the police can target. It's about another multi-agency thing that we all sit around the table and share information. Over the age of 12, children themselves can access without us having to have the parents' permission. It's always best if you can get the parents' permission, but on a lot of occasions young people have not even disclosed to the parents.
One of the things that we see more and more now is around what's happening with technology and apps. So for folks who might be constantly texting on the phone, so somebody's phone might be going ding, 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 questions around where are you, what are you doing, who you're spending your time with.
doesn't matter how many times you tell them to delete it. Sometimes it's easier for a woman to know where a perpetrator is and what he's up to than it is not to know it at all. So we'll go and check it. But social media's got a lot to play, particularly for young people. Years ago, when I was at school, so many years ago, you went home and your safe space was home. Now that abuse can follow you through the use of social media. The DISDAS is the Disclosure Scotland Domestic Abuse Scheme. The DISDAS is where women or victims can actually make an application to, it's either power to tell or the right to ask. Mm-hmm. And it's about their partner, their current partner, to see if there's anything in his past in relation to domestic abuse. And they can put this request through the police website. Mm-hmm. And it's a very simple form to fill in. Just like to thank you for inviting us and giving us this opportunity to raise awareness, and it's absolutely amazing that it's been built on somebody's own life experience. But thank you for this chance to help raise awareness of domestic abuse, particularly coercive control.
Imagine if she watched that, she's like, why is my parrot in this film?
That would be great.
Whenever I'd see him, he'd literally just want me, like he'd just want me like in his bed with him, like not leaving me alone, like he wouldn't give me space. We would never like go out and do anything. We'd never like go on dates or do cute things. And I remember being like really excited about it. I had like properly, thoroughly planned everything out. I'd planned the trains, I had planned the time that we were going to go, I would planned like the time that we had to get back to go out for dinner. I had everything planned. The one thing that I asked for him to do was, can you like book somewhere for us to go to dinner, or you can even like pick somewhere.
Hello, my name's Cade. I'm the composer for Spellbound. Yeah, as a whole for Spellbound, the music process has been hard, but because I've got a good cello player with me and we jam easily, it's been so much more easier to get it done.
There were a few issues with working online. When we did meet up and do a rehearsal, it was a lot better. Hello, I'm Olivia Martin. I am one of the composers and lyricist of Spellbound.
Me and Liv, we're not together at all, and I asked about, if it was possible to kind of maybe just get a rehearsal day together. I mean, I can go off and do certain things, but it's a difference in certain musicians like to jam with each other. I'm just doing head composing for everything on acoustic guitar and mostly the cello parts, because it's counter melodies, which are basically the exact same. Liv adds her own, add notes to it.
When all of this stuff was going on with Mica, I was always there for her. And I was with her when it was all happening.
It's really good to make something that's like emotional, because I know I'm doing my job right. Especially with this, obviously, film and it being so heavy based, you really want to be drawn into what's just going on, even though it can be mythical and fairy tale. This is real things that actually happen to people in the sense that it's dramatised.
Yeah, we were just so good. We actually made Mica cry. It actually was that good. It made me cry, to be honest. More than once. Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god! So we've been in the studio, I think, for about 2 hours now. I've cried about 3 times. Once very majorly. We had to have a wee group hug.
It's cool to be working with, somebody who is mainly women-based and driven. So I think that's a really cool thing.
The project is something I relate to, which is why I like to be one of the people working on it. And it's also not run by a man, so he can't put any misleading things into it. Plus it's easier to work with women.
It is a very long process sometimes if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, in the beginning when Mica asked me to do Spellbound, I was a bit, because I've never done this kind of stuff before. I've never worked on a project in this sense.
Barney from Carlton Studios has been absolutely amazing. When he found out that we were doing it, around the subject of coercive control, he immediately helped straight away, because his wife's worked for Women's Aid for 30 years, it hit very close to home. The sound guy, Kevin's amazing as well. It's just been so great working with Carlton Studios. They gave us recording studios completely for free. They let us use their equipment. It was great.
kind of started when I got there. So I met him at the station. I was like, I'm gonna warn you now, I'm like absolutely exhausted. And I remember when we were on the train, I don't even remember what I was saying. I remember I was just basically speaking and he kept being like, you're being so snappy, you're being so blah blah blah, you're being horrible. And I was like, how am I being horrible? I was like, I've booked us like a whole date because we never go on dates, so you're not like excited to spend time with me. He was just relentlessly telling me I was basically like what I was saying was wrong and rude and horrible and that I was being absolutely terrible to him, but I wasn't saying anything bad.
The heart shape was kind of where the whole idea from Spellbound originated from. I had this idea about someone giving a heart to somebody else and having that symbolise that idea of losing yourself and having that identity stripped away from you. We started off by doing a test shoot just to make sure the positions of hands and things like that were all okay, and then that's when we went into our first shoot. The first shoot was actually probably the most stressful out of the bunch. There were so many people there, we were having so many technical difficulties. My batteries were just not cooperating. There was just so much going on at the one time. It was a lot colder than we predicted it to be as well. Everything just kind of was a bit jumbled up, but we managed to get that resolved.
I think it's very Alison McDonald. It's not that. It's very. The only way this Spellbound is fluttering. Oh, big fluttering.
We realised though afterwards, I think about 3 shoots into it, that we forgot fake blood, which was kind of the whole purpose of the heart shoot, was to have that childlike fairy tale sense with it mixed with this horrendous, horrible gore. So we ended up having to reshoot it, and this is when I started to bring candles and fire into it, which in my opinion just makes everything better.
Alice's character is essentially controlling my character completely. Like as soon as we're introduced, he's got full control over everything and picked up and taken away from my little idyllic place, my nice little fluttery fairy looks area, and then I'm in a darker place because it's literally at night, it's dark. There's no one else around us. It's not like there's any other sense of safety. He's came into my nice little tea party and that's been taken away from me. And also, Alice's character is just all repeated. The guy must have so far. Look at the kids playing kid folk plans. It's almost like I see they really dress up thing. Like you've got these two characters that are like playing dress up.
So when we got there, we couldn't find the place and it was really busy, so I was just really stressed out. I was like, can you please just find the place? I physically I'm gonna cry. It was fine, we got there, it was literally around the corner, we were just silly. And we got there, it was fine and it was really nice. When we got back, I was like, oh, so are we going for dinner? Like, what's kind of the plan? And he was like, oh, I don't know. Oh, then what? And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, why don't we just go back to yours and order something? Because I was still like, felt really bad because I had apparently been horrible to him all day when I'd paid for things and planned the day, and I just felt like I was being horrible to him. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to fuss because like I don't want to upset him, even though he's perfectly okay to upset me.
Hi, my name is Ffion Evans. I'm a multi-instrumentalist, pagan artist and photographer. So I got a frantic phone call. It was to do with creating some guitar parts and music parts for the backing music for Spellbound.
Hi, I'm Ruthie Henry and I'm the artist for Spellbound.
Inspiration for the poster were it to be like 1920s and 1930s. So for the frame, I was inspired by some old mirrors that we have in my house, and I just did a photo of that and put it on the light so I could try and copy it.
The zine is probably the thing that I'm probably most excited about. We literally just went to Cafe Neuro in Ayr and we just sat down, got laptops open, got notebooks. We kind of just spoke about how we wanted to have individual pages for everybody. Everyone would have like a spread each and they would be really personal to like all the different members, and we decided on the order of it.
So I was going to put Mica's name under Spellbound on the banner part, but it didn't fit, so I just decided to put it underneath the banner.
You know, we thought of colour palettes, images that we're going to use, and like how, like what type of photographs we're going to take. We wanted to kind of go for, I don't know, kind of like a 90s, 2000s kind of vibe. Almost like, not like quite like a scrapbooky kind of thing.
So I kind of interpreted the frame around the heart and the bottom to kind of look more like thorns and more jaggy, so it looks a bit more evil.
Yeah, make sure you keep getting late night text messages frantically asking you to do favours.
We can do this.
Yay! Are you taking a video?
Yeah. So we continued the walk back to his, and we basically stopped in the middle of a really busy street, and he basically just started yelling at me. He was like, "You've been horrible to me all day, you've been really snapping, you've been this," and I'm like, "No, I genuinely haven't been." At this point I kind of started to get annoyed that he'd been saying this, and I was like, "I haven't been, I really don't understand what you're talking about." And I remember being like, "Can you please just explain it to me?" And he just wouldn't tell me, and he was like, "If you want to just go, just go." And I was like, I don't want to, and he kept saying it, and he was like, "If you want to just go, just go." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll go, I don't really want to be here." And so I started walking away, and he was like, "What are you doing? Come back." And I was like, "I'm going, you've just told me to go. I don't really want to keep arguing with you on the street. Like, I'm finding this really embarrassing, and this is like my worst nightmare. Like, I'm really upset, and I'm really overstimulated, and this is not what I want to be doing right now." So he was like, "Let's just walk back to mine." So I was like, okay. At this point I was confused. I didn't know what he wanted. I didn't know what was going on. I remember like profusely apologising to him. And then he like sat on his bed and just kind of kept looking at me, and I kept being like, "Come over here, like I want a hug, can you come over here?" And he was like, "No, you don't want me to touch you." But I'm like, "I'm asking you to come over here." And I was like, and he was like, "No, you're repulsed by me, you don't want me anywhere near you, why would you? I'm shit, I'm terrible, I'm horrible." And he went on this whole spiel about how I deserve better and all this stuff, and that I should leave him and all these things and blah blah blah. So I remember I sat next to him and I started like cussing into me, and he kept being like, "I don't, like, why are you doing this? Stop it, I don't deserve this, blah blah blah, I don't deserve this." I remember basically literally having like to beg him to hug me, and I don't think we actually resolved it. The dinner table was probably one of the most physically attributing shits that we've ever done. We had to carry this big massive dinner table over to Belair Woods, and it was such a weird way to end the story in a hole with such a physical toll. And Mia was there, and it was fun. She was just happy to be there. I love Mia.
Yeah, I'm gonna need people to move. This is where I need to Mica Ellie Hill vision things.
I actually couldn't find a dinner table, and when I did, me and Ben had to drive up country roads screaming, "And if a double-decker bus."
Can you get this out the box away from me? It's tism noise.
There's still styrofoam in this though. That's the thing. How do I get this out?
I can do that part.
The flowers are originally Nia's. They're originally something that was in her space, and they were there to kind of symbolise her anger kind of towards how she was feeling about herself and about the space that she was in, and just this kind of inner turmoil in her own head and in her own life. And then you see them again in this dinner table image, and these kind of represent a few things. So in the heart, it's kind of meant to represent that he's like taken this away from other women, that he's manipulated and hurt other women before, and that she wasn't the first one, and each rose is meant to symbolise like one of them. That they've all just kind of had similar rocky upbringings that he can sense and pry on. The reason why it's roses, the flowers that are depicted, is because symbolically they mean love, but it's also like what he used to buy me. He knew they weren't my favourite flowers. He was trying to do it as this gesture of love and to apologise for the things that he did, but he knew that I didn't actually really like them, and he just did it because it was easy and it was the easiest option for him, which was actually unfair if he was trying to apologise to me.
That was my plan.
Let's try and get like these. And I think just mix those bits in, so our hearts aren't like that big.
Mine's is, I've got a heart. Ryan was not entertained at all.
So guys, do you come here often?
Okay, well I have more than severely gotten what I wanted.
And I think he had this kind of idea in his head of who I was, and I think because I was a bit mucked up and didn't know who I was, I think kind of alarm bells started to go off. I think he just kind of didn't like that, and when I started to become more of my own person, he also kind of didn't like that. Like when I started to say to him, look, I want to go on dates and I want to do things and I want you to come around my friends, he didn't like that because he saw that as me not wanting to be just around him. I think he saw that as, oh no, she's bringing other people now, she doesn't want to be around me, I'm blah blah blah, and it just was so dramatic, that whole relationship. It was so twisted and so fucked. He wanted me to be his and nobody else's, and he didn't kind of understand that I was a personate with him and didn't let me be personate with him. Like, as much as I would like to say, oh, like, they've moved on and so have I, whatever, I've not. I'm the one that's like left having to feel like this. I'm the one that's left having to feel like shit every day. I'm the one that's left with PTSD. I'm the one that's left with this anxiety. I'm the one that's left not being able to get into a normal relationship with having like a bunch of fucking red flags and warning labels attached to me and they just get off scot-free. And I'm angry about it. Like, I'm so angry about it. Like, they don't deserve to just get away with it, but they do, and they can. And that's something as well that's really important to me with this project, is that these people can just get away with it, but then I'm the one that has to suffer the consequences of their actions. And it fucking sucks. It really sucks. I'm just so angry at them, and I'm really angry at myself for letting it happen. But it's like completely just fucked my whole life over, basically. Yay!
Smoke. We did a thing.
If you feel safe in an area that you're working in, you're not working in the right area, always go a little further into the water than you feel you're capable of being in. Go a little bit out of your depth, and when you don't feel your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting. What's the point of doing this if I'm just going to put it up on Instagram and YouTube? And no one's really going to see it. So I was like, okay, exhibition, because I'd always wanted, like, it's kind of been like my dream as well to have like my own exhibition and just kind of have that for myself.
When you're showing on film a bit coercive control. I'll probably make them up, but like it's not going to be too big of a deal. No.
It's actually really gonna make me cry. Oh, that's really weird. Why is it done? Oh, shit. That's scary. That's really scary. Fuck. Oh. I remember the feeling as well of like setting up and as I'm going there and getting prepped up. It was so like, it was exciting and it was nerve-wracking, but it was like a nice, do you know what I mean? It was a bit fluttery, I think. Do you know what I mean? It was just something that was a bit like, I don't know, it was just fun, that whole part. Like it felt a bit like a fairy tale in some way. Like it doesn't feel real, I think, in that sense. Like it just was, I probably wasn't even my opening line was, you're gonna hate I don't think there actually is a word to explain Spellbound anymore. I don't know if this will work, if it will look tacky, but... Oh, hold on. It's just something about us, which I think this is kind of what Spellbound's about, is turning something that looks shabby into being something that's a bit chic. Like, I think that's kind of, and like, that's such a cliche, but like, Spellbound is about turning something that's gruesome into something that's beautiful. That's what it is, and it's about moving forward. And I think just even the venue itself, going from something that wasn't idealistic and making the best of it, I think that's what Spellbound was. It was making the best of what we had. And we did that the whole way through consistently, and I think really the production of the project and just even the premiere night was reflective of what Spellbound was about. You're gonna have to pop the corks, but I can show you how to do that. It's fun! I got really stuck there.
Here you go.
Yeah?
Look up.
What? Oh!
Would that be okay?
Yeah!
Oh.
Not this one. Why does this take so long?
Hello. I just realised you weren't recording that. I said hello. Hammer time.
Spellbound was quite good in the sense that it was obviously like a group of young people coming together, and most people were doing it kind of off of their own backs because they believed in the story that they were telling, and also because they believed in me, which was a weird thing to process, the fact that these people were just kind of being like, yeah, no, we think what you're doing is good and we want to work with you. And it was kind of something that I don't think I could have asked anybody else to have done apart from my close friends. And it was quite nice as well because a lot of them didn't know each other, and just kind of seeing them bond and work together, it was quite nice to kind of combine all of my worlds into one. The fact that like a lot of people on my team as well really resonated with the topic and would come and frequently have conversations with me about it was quite lovely. That it was important to all of us and that all of us really grasped the concept of what coercive control was, and I don't actually think that I could thank them enough for the media that they produced as well, because it's not even them just being there, it's the stuff that they did was like really good, like really really good, and a lot of it like I just wasn't expecting, especially in the music parts. Like for me, that's always the parts that really choke me up, is the way that Ryan has put the words and the music together and just fit. Especially like one of the first songs where it just chokes me up.
Jesus Christ.
We got a serious one?
Yeah.
That is the serious one.
Spellbound felt so like it was my child, like it was my baby, and it was in my hands, and then it kind of felt like I was like letting them go to other people and other people could have it, and I think that was really terrifying, like really terrifying. And I think especially for it being like my first proper project being so heavy. Oh. They've gone up. Basically, I'm just in PR. I'm introducing myself to everyone. I'm going around and filming. I've done a lot the last 7 months. What I need from you to live is basically to handle the whole alcohol section. It's dedicated to my mum and Nonnie. So the 2 flowers in there, I'm going to have probably Amy like one of these. Because I can be here with me next to the printer. Oh my god, where did they come from? So that'll be that how that happens. What we produced was so much better than I thought it would be. I think every part of media kind of complements each other really well. Everything that we made holds your hand through everything and it tells the story really well, especially the music. Like, the music's something that I'm so personally in love with, especially because of the cello. The music to me, it just really makes it, because it really put into kind of sound what I think I was feeling. Yes, there's the words there and there's the imagery, but I think having that music go along with the shoots really kind of keeps your head in that this isn't good. Like, this is not a happy story, and I think that music really helps to kind of guide you and keep your ears kind of in that sense instead of kind of flurrying away.
My face as well.
You'll be paying for the fucking insurance then. You're actually going to go for my fucking head! Jesus!
Okay, that was a lot easier than I thought.
Easy, you almost killed a man.
Fucking, oh, light just flashed from my fucking eyes. Oh my fucking god.
I was joking. I was excited there. I was just joking.
Oh.
But yeah, me, Ryan and Josh, we had a wee little Corona in our hand and we framed the first image and we just kind of stood in front of it and just looked at it, and I will never be able to feel this feeling ever again in my whole entire life. And it was something so nice because it was shared. All of us felt it. Even though Josh hadn't been there for the duration of everything and through the stress and through the turmoil and the greatness and the horribleness and just how amazingly complex it was, even though he wasn't there, he still felt it. There was some sort of sense of we're almost there, completion and hope and just bliss and peace. It just felt like everything went quiet. Yeah, we leaned up against a wall together and we just were like, yeah. I think we looked at it for 20 minutes or something. It was a prolonged period of time, but it was just yeah, we've done it. There was a bit of Boy Genius and Radiohead playing in the background, and it was just so it was just so coming of age, but it was so nice. It wasn't corny and it was something that
I really just appreciate how even my post I'm going to keep talking about that.
The moment that the first person walked in, I was like, okay, it's showtime. That's kind of what it felt like. It kind of felt that that's what we were doing. We were putting on an experience for other people. And I think I just had so much concern that the work that I had put in for the last 7 months wasn't worth it. because at that point it kind of felt like I'm no longer doing this for myself, I'm no longer doing this for the team around me, it's not longer catered to us, where now actually people are going to perceive it, and I think that was the scary part. People are going to have an image of me and people are going to perceive me and how I come across.
Every single day I think about that weird pin victim. Hi, I'm Mica Ellie Hill and I've dealt with a lot of coercive behaviour within my relationships.
And just hearing the reactions of people and kind of being able to be in that room and the fact that we were all experiencing it together was quite nice. And just because Spellbound is a roller coaster of emotion. There's parts where you laugh, there's parts where you cry, there's parts that affect me more than wouldn't affect other people. And it was just quite nice to go through what I went through on my own with other people, and to have them sit there and listen and feel something about it as well was quite nice. It was quite weird.
But there was no room for chairs, so we had to leave them. We got there.
After the film was done, going up and then looking at everybody and looking at everybody's faces after they had just watched this and just kind of seeing how they were kind of processing it as well was quite like,
And he was like, you need to expand on that.
I don't know the word. Yeah, I don't think it's something I can explain. It was, I don't know. It was just a bit captivating, I suppose, just seeing people process what had just been in front of them. And then it was quite, it was like people paid attention the whole way throughout. And I think people, like, even going and watching the images when people were asking questions about stuff and they knew that there was more to it than what meets the eye, which was quite nice. No, I just want to say again an extra massive thank you to my team. You guys have all, sorry I'm gonna cry, sorry, you guys have all done really exceptionally well on this, and I want to give a massive thanks as well to Women's Aid. Your guys' contribution really means a lot to me on this, and thank you as well for you guys all coming as well tonight. It really means a lot. As well, I really want to dedicate this film actually to my mum and my nanny. Sorry, I wouldn't be as a strong woman as I am if it wasn't for you guys, and I wouldn't have gotten through everything, so I've got to do something for you guys. I also want to say as well a massive thank you to my uncle as well for mixing the music as well for me. It's been absolutely amazing. Spellbound wouldn't be where it is just as well without my uncle Ian. We were sat one night in Portugal and we were talking about my photography business and what I'm doing and stuff like that, and he was like, you need to really get yourself out there, you need to really go for it. And I was like, oh no, that's a bit scary. I told him about the heart idea and what I had for that and what I wanted to do, and he was like, you need to expand on that, you need to do something with it. And then in a matter of like a couple of weeks passed away a couple months later, and it was when I was in the middle of doing this and I kind of pushing myself out there and doing this as well, all to him. My family's kind of been a big massive part of this for me as well, and just creating this, which has been amazing. There was one really nice moment that myself and Ryan and Josh had. It was just leading up to the end where we looked at the first image that had been framed, and it just kind of made everything make sense. Something that was so horrible in my life that happened so young, and it's become something so beautiful, and I incorporated some of the most closest and inspirational people in my life, like Ffion is 17 and is a multi instrumentalist and is doing all these amazing things. Caden Allen is is starring a band which is amazing. They've got an EP out, they're called Lament. Go and listen to them, they're amazing. Ryan Robertson with his own podcast, doing everything that's just absolutely amazing, exploring Ayrshire, doing his own films, going into uni and stuff like that, and making Spellbound as well.
Keeping
and just everyone on the team as well. It's just absolutely phenomenal, and I just want to say a big massive thank you.
I did not prepare a speech.
One thing
I do want to say though is, Mica, thank you for this experience. I really do appreciate it. This is my first project I've ever worked on, so this was a big deal to me. I remember I said to my grandpa, who actually couldn't be here tonight, around my neck, but I said to him that I was working on this film, and I was like, don't know if I can do this, it's a lot of pressure here. And he turned to me and he went, just put your mind to it and you'll be able to do it. And I've thought that throughout this has been really stressful, but you know what, in the end watching this, having you all watch this, it's been really special to me as well. But I mean, give a round of applause for Mica for being able to share her story up here in front of everyone. One thing I'd also like to say as well is thank you to Liv for being an amazing cello player throughout this whole entire time. Same with Ffion as well for coming in last minute and doing intro and outro stuff for us.
Seeing people just move about and interact in the space and just kind of talk about it and just kind of slowly like earwigging into people's conversations was quite enlightening almost. And also just being able, because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't come to me and give me feedback after everything that had just happened, but just hearing like from other people in my team and what people have said to them and what they did was quite nice. And Women's Aid being there as well was really important to me. And just them coming along and kind of telling me what they thought after them just kind of being chucked into it was really lovely. And just how well received from them it was as well, because that was also kind of my like fear about it, is that we weren't going to live up to Women's Aid as well, that we weren't going to kind of do that charity justice, and that was something that they gave really good feedback on.
Just like to say a massive thank you to Mica and Ryan for coming along to our office. It was a good experience, it was fun, it was nervous. I was nervous tonight. But you made a great job in this. Amazing that you've actually practiced it before and made it into the project, so well done the whole team as well. So amazing.
Yeah. And Brent and Ryan and came and we only got to two of you, but it's so beautiful to see you all working together. Thank you so much for inviting me to this project. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If you guys just want to head in, it's just not that over in two, you guys can go and have a look at the images. If you guys want any more drinks, we'd be more than happy to come around and supply them for you. Thank you so much again for coming. It means the world to myself and my team. People's reaction to the zine as well was fun. That was fun. People really liked that. I just knew there had to be something else there on the night. I just knew. I think the zine really rounded it off really nicely, and I think that it made people's contribution to it a bit more concrete somehow. Because I didn't want Spellbound to be the Mica Ellie Hill show. That's not what I wanted, because that's not what it is. But yeah, like it goes beyond like the zine and the film and the photographs and the music or whatever, because that was all put together to create a feeling. I like sometimes think about this, like about Spellbound, and when I'm like looking, even just like looking through like the notebook that I had of all the notes and all the craziness and all the hecticness, I sometimes think I can't wait to show this to someone one day. I can't wait to show this to like whoever, if I ever have kids or whatever, and be like, yeah, no, I did this when I was this age and it was cool. And just like the zine, it's like I can't wait to see how that like ages. I don't know. I don't think I actually know a way to end Spellbound. I think the fact that it's always going to be a part of my life, and the fact that it's always, this story is something that people can be like, oh my god, that was, yeah, no, I really enjoyed that and I understand that now, and I can go off and I can go and learn other things about it. But for me, it's my life, and it's something that I'm going to have to just work through for the rest of my life. It's something that I can never forget what's happened to me. It's not something that I can just close a laptop or a screen or turn a TV off and forget about. It's something for me that I'm gonna have to just sit with it, and not all the time I'm gonna be thinking about it, not all the time I'm gonna be like, I'm serious, but it's something for me that's never going to end. It's something for me that's always gonna be a part of my life. It's gonna be a part of my life when I'm 50, it's gonna be a part of my life when I'm 70, it's gonna be a part of my life when I'm 25, do you know what I mean? It's not ever something that is going to go away. It's not something that I can shut off. It's always going to live with me and be there.
and I can't hide away from that.